Hey, happy fifth day of Christmas.
Won't you look at me? 5 golden rings.
So neither of us got rings then, apparently.
No. I used to wear rings a lot, and I stopped, and then I lost them all.
In a settlement, or?
No, I just lost them all.
If you've lost your rings, contact... It's the Krisha and Frank
Pepler,
show.
Badger and K-Hole.
Was that from the Sweet Fanny show?
Yes.
The law firm of
Pepler, Badger.
Felix Pepler.
Mm-hmm. Badger.
And
K-Hole.
K-Hole. I loved that Sweet Fanny Adams show that you sent on the... we watched it live stream.
Yeah.
And I loved your little hippopotamus number, you know.
Oh, I never can breathe in that. You see how fast it is?
You've gotten better.
Yeah.
When you first started rehearsing it, you were out of breath, and you made it through just fine.
Yeah.
So you did wonderfully.
Thanks.
And of course, if you're going to see Sweet Fanny Adams, you probably just need to buy the DVD at this point because...
Yeah. We've got tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's it.
The end.
Bye-bye. It's over.
Wait, and Thursday, New Year's Eve. Today's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, New Year's Eve. I'm a day ahead of myself.
That's all right. It is the Krisha and Frank show, and we're always ahead of ourselves. We're on the cutting edge of internet technology.
We certainly are.
And the cutting edge of wacky entertainment.
Well, we hope that you will subscribe on our YouTube channel. We love that you listen on all of your listening devices and your apps.
Including Pandora, which is relatively new. And as you told me, Audible has its own Audible Pod app.
Yeah. So you can go to that, and you can go to audibletrial.com/Krisha and Frank and sign up for an Audible trial.
Yeah, and keep whatever you download during that first 30 days. You get one freebie forever. And then they'll start charging you on day 31 if you want to continue and have the unlimited access and not have to worry about which book to get, because you just get all of them.
Get them all. Yeah.
It's nice.
So right before Christmas, the zoo had zoo lights.
Zoo Knoxville. We were invited. We are still, I guess, invited to go to the zoo. It's just because of pandemic times.
Well, and holidays that make it kind of difficult.
It's been hard, so I'm going to reschedule it for after Sweet Fanny Adams closes. Yes. We can go. I got to meet Big Al, the Aldabra tortoise.
And I didn't get to see him when we went to Zoo Lights.
Oh, is he hibernating?
Well, he's in the indoor enclosure, and Zoo Lights is a special event. And it actually goes through, I think, the 5th or the 6th of January.
Oh, so it's worth going over there.
Yeah, and it's $15 for admission.
This is not brand new and amazing. The photos I didn't understand it because it's a new thing, right?
Right.
And I wasn't fully cognizant of it. And I started seeing all my Facebook friends, many of my Facebook friends posting these amazing pictures like you did.
Yeah, and it was, when we got there, it was the Sunday before Christmas. And we were maybe the 5th or 6th family in line. Mm-hmm. It opens at 5. So the zoo closes at 4 and then reopens at 5 for the event.
Which is, at this time of year, sunset is 5 and change, yeah.
And there were maybe 4 or 5 families, and I was actually talking to one of the volunteers, and she's like, this is the Sunday before Christmas. She's like, just on a normal zoo Sunday before Christmas, this place would be packed. Because it was mild weather. I think it was 45, almost 50 degrees.
Yeah, for December, before that big freeze we had.
And she was like, everything is struggling. And she was like, we have lost. And so it was really, really cool. And actually, do you remember a couple years ago, there was a lantern festival that happened on the fairgrounds over on the other side of the Midway?
You know why I remember it?
Huh?
Because I recorded my friend Avi doing all of the intro announcements. She needed some help with it, and so she came over and did the voice for the Lantern Festival, and I recorded her and edited her and sent it off to them.
It's the same people. The zoo just said, hey, that Lantern Festival you did,
way cool.
We want, and so all of the zoo lights, it's actually, they're lanterns. They're fabric lanterns.
I wondered how they did that, because they look like gigantic animals, like you would find at a zoo, except for a sea tortoise. You don't generally find those at zoos. But sea tortoise, sea turtle. Yes. You can't have a sea tortoise; it would drown. But you know what I meant,
right?
The sea turtle. But all these other ones, what's a giraffe? And...
They've got tigers and lions and elephants, and it's not the full zoo. It's about 3/4 of the zoo. Like once you get to the elephants, everything like past the elephants is closed. But it was so cool.
That's nice.
And it was warm. And
Wait, make up your mind.
It was mild.
So cool or so warm?
It was warm enough outside that a lot of the animals were out when we first got there before dark. And we got to see the red pandas, and I've never seen them this active.
Usually they're just laying about. And the Knoxville Zoo is known, I think, for 2 species. I mean, nationally known for 2 species. And I believe one of them is red panda.
Yeah.
And the other is, I think, certainly one of the tortoises. Maybe it's one of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
But they are the most successful in the country, if not the world, at breeding these smaller tortoises and the red pandas. So they're the leaders in that.
And the red pandas had little babies, and they have the little nursery.
Get out.
And those have always been active, but they're inside. Like, they pretty much stayed inside, and then they're always playing. But the big guys were outside, and they were just chomping on their bamboo.
If only I Dream of Jeannie could wish us a picture. Bink. There it is.
Look at how cute he is. He's looking right at me. Yeah. So we got to see the animals. It was such a good time. And the only thing that stunk was
the skunks.
No, I didn't get to see the skunks.
I don't think they have skunks.
They do.
What?
It's a little known secret. And every time I've gone to the zoo with somebody who's never known this and never seen them, down, in the kids area where like the petting zoo is for the goats.
I guess I don't go there that often because, but go ahead.
So, there's an aviary.
Yeah.
Down in that little culvert where it's Kids Cove.
Yeah.
But there's an aviary down in Kids Cove.
Okay.
If you go through the aviary, there's another building that is nocturnal animals. It's dark animals. They've got raccoons, skunks, possums, owls, bats.
Do you call a skunk?
Yeah.
I've heard some people call it a polecat.
Polecat.
That's a southern thing, right?
I guess so.
Okay. I
call them kunks. But that's just weird Krisha language. I smell a kunk.
I used to work with a guy named Bill Kunkel.
Bill Kunkel.
Anyway, that's what I got.
But no, that Kids Cove wasn't open either. It was it's very special eventy.
Red pandas. I know regular pandas. Chinese pandas or great pandas, whatever they're called, are more closely related to raccoons than to bears.
Right.
They're not really. We call them bears because they just resemble the shape of bears, but actually they're more aligned with the raccoonish. Yeah.
I don't know about red pandas.
That would make sense, though. I mean, because when you
little foofy tails.
Yeah, don't they look similar?
They kind of do, but they got little foofy tails and the little flat faces, and they go.
Yeah.
I love them.
But do you love raccoons also?
I do.
Okay, because we probably should talk about that coming up. I know we have raccoons. Remember, we've seen evidence that there's all sorts of critters here outside the podcast porch. Because we had, I think one of the first days after we covered the pool, we saw raccoon footprints, right? Mm-hmm. You don't usually see them because they're nocturnal, like you pointed out. But I'm also concerned that the new neighbors, remember where I thought the Californians were going to live?
Right.
Well, they didn't.
Oh my gosh.
So now, but some people have bought the house, and I of course, nosy me.
Are they coon hunters?
Well, they're from Halls.
Oh, yeah, so they definitely are.
Because, well, like what's his name, Kaz Walker. Well, they're young.
Coming up in here, talking on my telephone. I'm sorry.
If you're from outside of East Tennessee and you never heard of Kaz Walker, go after our show. Go ahead and Google that because you're going to go down a wormhole. A rabbit hole of a raccoon hole.
There's a YouTube video of Kaz Walker.
CASWALKER.
Complaining on his show about people in Kentucky calling the Kentucky store using my telephone. You don't need to use a telephone. You just come by the store. And you should not be out looking for your girlfriend or your boyfriend. If they're here working for me, they're working. There's too many people calling my phone at the Lebanon, Kentucky location. He is not kidding, and it is hilarious.
Well, because in those days you got a phone bill, and every call was itemized. He knew.
Oh, he's mad. But yeah, just do some Kaz Walker research. It's worth it.
The new neighbors have dogs, and I guess we can talk about that after we talk about some Hutch and Howard.
Yeah,
because I'm excited that they've moved in, and but they're dogs. I'm selfishly worried about the dogs.
Okay.
And maybe I shouldn't be, but...
if you're looking to, move to the area with more and or less raccoons or wildlife, Hutch and Howard is who you desperately need to call. And check them out at hutchandhoward.com. They service like all of East Tennessee.
Oh my gosh, they call it, say, Morristown to Athens because that's just a one way of describing the stretch. I suppose if you wanted to go to Bulls Gap, I have a friend who's just moving to Bulls Gap, which is further than Morristown, but I'm sure Hutch and Howard could find you a place in Bulls Gap if that's what you wanted.
And here's the thing that's so great. When you decide, okay, I'm looking for a house, they will get on the phone with you and they will ask you what areas are you looking in? Not even really looking at a price range.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they can like work that. You just tell them kind of what your price range is, minimum or maximum bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage. Do you want a yard? Do you want a neighborhood, or would you prefer?
Because ultimately, it's about you being happy where you live. That's the ultimate.
And they're so great about it. And you can go downtown, anywhere. But also, if you're looking to sell your home,
oh boy,
they can help you out too. And man, it's a good time to do so.
Yeah, that's what, as I say, these folks jumped in, and I know that house was a little on the expensive side, but this young newlywed couple, they're. I met them. I got to talk to them.
Yeah.
They're going to be happy there, and they'll build a fence and all the things we're going to talk about in a minute. But
So check them out, hutchandhoward.com. Adeem.
Oh, the phone number is 865-966-5005. Go ahead.
Take it away. Take it away.
If you're buying or selling your home, trust a professional. Don't do it alone. From the sunflower fields to the Sunsphere Tower, there's a knowledgeable name. It's Hutch and Howard.
Part of Keller Williams Realty, each office independently owned and operated.
You miss that post every time.
Well, I did it too fast the last time. I did it too slow this time.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
I suppose I could fix it in post.
I love that I lean over to cough like it.
Yeah.
Like you.
Like
don't
you're on
know
we're on commercial radio.
Exactly. It's a habit. It's such a habit.
Well, all right. So we have more animal talk.
Yes.
I want to hear about your raccoons, but I'm wondering if that's what's making these dogs bark so much.
I mean, possibly. Do they bark a lot at night?
No, I think he lets them in the house at night. Well, they're still at the point where they're kind of still sort of moving in-ish.
Right.
He wanted to get some things fixed up. So I hear these dogs, and then one of them.
What kind of dogs they are?
Could one be a golden doodle?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it
is.
It's
big and it's
a golden retriever mixed with a poodle, and they're poofy poof poof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fairly large,
yeah.
like a giant poodle type sized. And he had it strung up a rope between two trees and then had the thing on a leash. And it was not happy.
Right.
She, Willow, I think is the dog's name. And then there's another one who kind of looked like a puppy, like a German Shepherd kind of thing. But I think he said it was a Belgian Malinois. Belgian Malinois. Anyway, it looks like a police dog.
Okay.
So he was on another rope and running around. But they were straining because there's so much activity going on.
They're probably barking because they're unsettled and full of anxiety because they just moved to a new place and they're stuck in a yard and it's unfamiliar to them and they haven't been able to tinkle on everything yet.
Yes. Good. All right. So that makes a lot of sense because when I met the young man who is buying the house with his new wife, when we walked over toward closer where the dogs were, they settled. Mm-hmm. They were calm.
They're like, okay, you're here.
Everything's fine. But when we walked around to show him, I was showing him where I had Steve's tree service take down some trees that were kind of like, I said, this is the edge of my property line where this tree stump is.
Right.
Because this guy's going to build a fence.
Nice.
And I said, oh, good. Let me know what fence company you're going to use because Jerry, the Brave, wants maybe to tie into your fence and expand our, get rid of our broken old fence. We'll just let them have a new fence.
I'm just so proud of you for communicating with your neighbors because as we discovered...
I'll talk to anybody.
But as we discovered several episodes ago, you didn't even know the people behind you until you almost killed them.
That's true, and I haven't seen them since.
Right.
So, yeah, since that episode where...
You almost killed the neighbor.
Where they got upset that we were cutting down trees.
I'm very proud of you.
Well, I was kind of snooping. I mean, I went out there for my walk.
Yeah, you were going on Mrs. Kravitz. It's fine.
And I yelled, oh, hello. Are y'all moving in? And then I got to meet them. And he even said, give me your number and we'll have it so we can communicate
that's cool.
about the fence in the future. So that I'm excited about that possibility, that they'll have a nice fence and the dogs, and they don't have any kids yet, he said.
Right.
But they want to...
Newly married, buying a house, it won't be long.
And what I don't know how to tell them this part, though, is that, where my pool pump has a drain thing where when I'm backwashed, the water will run down the hill toward his property. He points to that area, and I'm like, yeah, I was thinking about putting a fire pit in this area and maybe a retaining wall. I'm like,
sounds like a good plan there, bud.
Maybe you might want to move it a little bit that way. I don't know. That's not the exact spot.
Well, in this spot, you could say in this spot, I know that the previous neighbors talked about there's a lot of runoff. It's kind of where it's a runoff area. You don't have to specifically say
that it's my runoff.
That it's your runoff. You can just say, well, I know that this has been prone to being a runoff area.
Gotcha.
You sound real manly when you're like, that's my runoff area. But you don't have to say that it's your pool runoff area. And I really don't think, it's a technicality. It's not lying.
Good point.
You're not lying.
All right.
You're just not disclosing the awkward part that it's your pool.
Yeah.
If it were me, I'd be like, my pool drain's here, so I wouldn't build a fire pit there. But you can't go for that awkward.
Right, but also I'm so cheap that I don't drain a lot of water out of the pool. I don't want to lose any because I pay for the water.
I paid for this.
So I am very stingy with the water. But the raccoons like to come sip out of it and the other critters. So I remember what you talked about when you first moved in to your place. You were worried about the raccoons on the
a raccoon fell off my roof. I haven't seen hide nor hair of said raccoon. But at Sweet Fanny Adams Theatre, there is a raccoon that is living above the women's bathroom.
Inside?
Inside.
How?
So it's in between the roof and the ceiling.
Okay.
And it has made itself a little hole and climbs down into like the storage area that's above the bathrooms in that hallway. And it is so used to people now that we go and lift the curtain because it's where like the shop vac is stored and there's like, it's storage up there. But when you lift the curtain, it just goes... And it turns around slowly and crawls its fat ass up. And it can barely fit into the hole.
You're telling me that a raccoon in Gatlinburg is fat and slow?
Yeah. Weird, right?
That's impossible. I can't even wrap my mind around it.
It's such the mecca for good health and kale parties.
You should get the raccoon its own jazzy scooter.
Well,
I think, if you wanted my personal opinion.
I have suggested that we keep the raccoon because
the theater's closing on New Year's Eve. After,
right.
I guess it's open on New Year's Eve and then it closes.
Right.
Once 2020 is over, the theater's closed.
Right. Forever. And
what's the raccoon gonna do?
It's gonna come live with me.
Where?
In my house.
How could?
It already lives inside.
Okay. But
I've suggested like getting it a blanket and feeding it some cat food.
Well, you wouldn't want to give the raccoon the run of the house. You'd probably need to get like at least a dog crate.
Like I feel like a raccoon can get in and out of anything.
Well, they have those little hands, and they're very.
They're like. I wanted a dog, and I can't take care of a dog right now. I'm never home enough, and even when I am home, it's just not.
I think a dog is better than a raccoon.
I would like a cat, but honestly, How do you
take the raccoon to the vet to make sure he's gotten his shots?
You don't. That's what I'm saying.
It's an outlaw animal.
It's an outlaw animal.
Hence the bandit mask.
And that's what I'm saying. It's got to fend for itself. Just that's why I think it's the perfect pet, because it requires. Not much of me, just a warm place to
garbage.
sleep.
Just literally garbage.
And I make garbage. It will have a lot of empty wine bags.
So because no one will have to come over, I mean, you're like...
No, I mean, it will have...
I'm not saying I would come over to visit because I have no reason to. But if hypothetically we came over and I visited...
Yeah, I mean, you can. You're welcome.
I know I could, but I'm not...
You're welcome anytime.
Let's hypothetically say that we were recording another episode on your porch or something. And I show up, and what's the raccoon? And the raccoon is just in the bathroom or whatever the raccoons do.
Right.
It's just got the run of the house.
Well, I'm not going to teach it to use the bathroom.
Well, how are you going to clean up after it?
It's going to go outside.
Wait. Does the raccoon live in the house or out of the house?
Both.
So you're gonna have a door?
Inside outside coon.
You're gonna have like a cat door?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a raccoon door.
Yeah.
a rack door, raccoon
And
door.
I could make it a little, like, shelter out on my back porch.
That makes a little more sense to me.
Uh-huh.
That you could have like a rabbit hutch type of thing.
Right. And I'm just saying it requires little to no
But you're going to let
care.
him in the house.
Right, because I wanted to snuggle with me.
What if
Snuggle.
No, I think you'll get rabies.
Ow, not all animals have rabies.
Well, this one, okay.
It might.
This one's got Gatlinburg rabies.
Oh,
or
that's
cooties,
true.
or whatever it's got. How long has it been living inside the theater?
Most of the season.
Because I don't.
We're
I mean,
convinced it's going to come out during a show.
I think I would have known this when I was there last season.
No, it's been there raccoons live there every winter, but
Okay.
they don't typically, like, we know they're in the ceiling.
But this is.
They don't typically make themselves like,
So he was there all summer too.
what,
Maybe.
at least since September, we have been aware that the raccoon was coming back. And I think it's the same raccoon family, but it's just one. But he's slowly gotten fatter and fatter.
He doesn't have any choice. Schools are closed.
Yeah, but he's slowly
Do his in-theater learning.
He's like his butt is getting fatter and fatter.
What is he eating?
Well, we think
The popcorn?
we don't make popcorn right now. We think that because we're right next door to Old Red's, and that the alleyway to Old Red's is.
So Blake Shelton's feeding the
So
raccoon?
I think that this is getting Blake Shelton fat, right? But his home is in the ceiling and the roof.
He needs to get Gwen Stefani skinny is what he needs.
He does. But there have been raccoons that have lived in the ceiling and the ceiling in the past.
So
but this guy
imagine they have like raccoon graffiti,
is
Rocky was here.
2018.
Yeah.
But they've never been so acclimated to us.
Yeah, well, it's pandemic times. Things are different.
And
Oh
like
my goodness.
his little head will peep out and he'll just look at us.
Okay.
And if you're in the women's bathroom at the theater, you can hear him scuttling
I need
above
photos.
you.
I need photos so badly.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So.
I'll have you a photo.
Well, we hope.
No, it's right here. That's him.
That was fast.
Yeah. I'm magic.
All right. Well, thanks for another fun show.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end of 2020. We don't have anything special planned for New Year's Eve, except I'm going to wear a tie.
Are you?
That's what I have for New Year's Eve. I've got a tie.
Is that tomorrow?
No, tomorrow is New Year's Eve.
Oh.
Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Okay.
You all right?
No.
I'm glad you just showed up.
Me too.
I'm thankful that you're here.
I'm glad that I remembered I was supposed to.
It's the Krisha and Frank Show on YouTube, on all the audio podcasting apps you can think of. And if there's one you can think of that we're not on, I'll make it happen. You know me, when I get an idea, I'm persistent.
There have been a couple meetings that I've had to tell you just, shh.
I'm persistent. I'm competitive. I'm ambitious.
I do love that you've told me in meetings that I'm allowed to say, shut up.
Yes. Yeah, you're allowed to. And we had a meeting where you actually...
I ended the meeting.
I started on something. Oh, and Krisha wants to text me. We're a Zoom meeting, so we're at separate places. And she wants to text me and tell me, stop it.
I actually had it typed out.
Stop selling. They bought it.
Yeah, I was like, stop selling. They bought it. You're selling. And then I put one of these faces in there. But instead, I just ended the meeting.
But see, I knew. But the thing is, we do a show together. So once you started wrapping the show,
and I was like,
meaning the Zoom call.
Thank you guys so much.
I'm like, good night.
Have a Merry Christmas.
And I said, good night, thanks.
All right. Good night, thanks.
I can't believe they bought it.
No,
I'm so happy.
I can believe
I'm
they bought
thrilled.
it.
I'm so excited.
When can we talk about it?
After we sign the thing.
Oh, yeah. When are we going to do that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe today.
Oh,
Maybe tomorrow.
Happy New Year.